Hello, people peeps. Here we go. All right, now remember, this is the big deal here is we're all going to do our best. Okay, I'm going to try to give some really good examples. Everybody should have my phone number. You can call or text. You can FaceTime me. You can ask questions in Google Classroom. Okay, there's a lot of different ways to get a hold of me. So do your best, and we're going to just make the best of this. Okay. We probably have maybe 5 or 6 learning goals that are extremely important, okay? And this is going to be learning goal number 1 right here. So I want everybody to take out your notebooks. Now, if you don't have your notebooks, don't go to school to get them, but create a new notebook if you have to, okay? And then we're just going to start this learning goal number 1. We're just going to start right at the top, okay? I can solve systems of linear equations using substitution. Okay, before we got out of school, the Friday that we got out of school, we took a quiz on I can solve systems of linear equations by graphing. So remember what we did there is we graphed 2 equations, where those 2 equations crossed, that was the solution, right? Okay, this is actually, you're not gonna love it at the very beginning, but once you get used to substitution, you're gonna like it better than graphing. I know most of you are sick of graphing anyway. All right, so get out your notebooks and write down this first learning goal, push pause on the video. Okay, so example number 1. Y equals 6x minus 11 and negative 2x minus 3y equals negative 7. Now the cool thing about me being on video is you can push pause whenever you want. So if I'm going too fast, you're just going to have to push pause, maybe do rewind or whatever, all right? But, so the big idea here, remember the word that we've been discussing, or the word that we're going to be discussing, is the word substitution. Okay? So, what that means then is if you take somebody out of the game, you got to put somebody else in the game. Hopefully, the person that you're substituting in, hopefully that person's just as good as the person that just came out of the game. All right, that's good substitution. All right, so this is what's really interesting here. Look here, it says y equals 6x minus 11. Now I literally want you to double underline this y, and I want you to circle the 6x minus 11. Now we're going to be talking about this thing called a naked variable. Right? Y here is the naked variable. And the reason why we say it's a naked variable, notice how these 2 variables over here, they have coefficients with them, right? So y is the naked variable. There is no coefficient with it. Obviously you guys know that there's a 1 there, but we're going to pretend like, you know, that obviously you don't need to write the 1. All right, so I have my naked variable here. And the thing that's nice about it is it's solved for. Now this isn't going to happen forever, but for right now at the beginning, this is what's going to happen. Y equals 6x minus 11. Okay, now I want you to check this out. I'm going to come over here to this equation, and I'm going to go negative 2x minus 3. Now, I'm taking y out of the game. Okay, so the y comes out of the game. And what am I going to substitute in for y? Well, the thing that's cool is I'm substituting in something that's equal to y. So whenever you're taking somebody out of the game, like for instance, you know, they pull LeBron James out, they put Scott Palin in. Equal, okay? So, we just took LeBron James out of the game. Now we're putting Scott Palin in the game. 6x minus 11. The Lakers are still in just good shape, all right? So, that's the big idea. What came out? The y came out, but y was equal to 6x minus 11. So LeBron comes out, Palin goes in. And we're still golden. Okay, now, you guys have done this before a lot. All right, so watch. I'm going to go negative 2x, little distributive property here, right? Okay, so here we go. Negative 3 times 6x is a negative 18x. Negative 3 times a negative 11 is a positive 33 equals negative 7. Okay, you guys have done that 1,000 times. All right, next we're going to combine things that are alike, right? So here we go. Negative 2x equals a negative 18. So that's going to be negative 20x, okay? Bling bling, right? So I bling blinged it, same sign, so I add -2 and -18 is -20, plus 33 equals a -7. Okay, so what do we do from there? Now we got to get rid of our 33. So I'm going to subtract 33 from each side. Okay, that's going to give me -20x equals a -40. Same sign, so we add -7, -33. Same sign, so we add -40, use a sign of larger number, so it's a negative. Okay, now I divide by -20, so divide by -20, divide by -20, and as you can all see, x is going to equal 2. Okay, now here's what's really cool about this though. Okay, so we did all this work. We took the y out of the game. That's a big thing. A lot of kids are not going to remember to take the y out of the game. Take the y out of the game. Well, what does y equal? It equals 6x minus 11. Okay? Now from there, that's math you guys have all done before. Distributive property, combine like terms, solve. Now here's what's cool. You know what x equals, don't you? So guess what? We're going to come right back over to this equation. Mr. Palin, do we have to do that? Yes, you have to have both. You have to have the x and you have to have the y. All right? Otherwise, you don't have the complete answer. So we know what x is. Now we have to solve for y. Well, what are we going to do? We're going to come over here. Y equals 6. Pull x out of the game. Okay, x comes out. I'm using parentheses. What does x equal? X equals 2. X comes out of the game. 2 goes into the game. Minus 11. Okay, 12 minus 11. Let's do it right here. Y equals 12 minus 11. Y equals 1. All right. Remember what your answer is. It's always in alphabetical order, x, y. So our answer, you have to do this, okay? So you're going to get 1 point for having your x value right. You're going to get 1 point for having your y value right. And you're going to get 1 point for giving me the proper answer, which is, in alphabetical order, x, y. That's your answer. You need to report your answer every time. Okay, so here, this is what's really cool about this. This is a linear equation. We could graph it. This is a linear equation. We could graph it. When those two, if we graph those two equations, where would they cross? They would cross right at the point 2, 1. Okay? The other thing that's really cool about that, that's the only two numbers in the whole world, the only two combination of numbers, x would have to equal 2, y would have to equal 1, that makes both of these equations true. So remember, go back to our learning goal. I can solve systems of linear equations using substitution. That's what we just did right there. All right, here we go. Example number 2. 2x minus 3y equals -1, and y equals x minus 1. All right, so now remember what we talked about at the beginning. You got to find the naked variable. Well, in example number 1, the naked variable is here, but the naked variable could be anywhere. So notice it's over here on this time. All right, so watch what I do. And I want you to do the exact same thing. I want you to get in the habit of doing it. Underline the naked variable. Double underline it. Circle what it equals. Okay, get in the habit of doing that. All right. Now we come over to this equation. 2x minus 3. All right, y comes out of the game. Big fat parentheses right there. Y comes out of the game. I put a parentheses equals -1. Now, folks, if you'll just get in the habit of doing it just like I show you, you'll get it. Okay? So we took y out of the game. Well, what does y equal? Y equals x minus 1. X minus 1. Okay? Now here we go. You've done this a million times. 2x. Okay? -3 times x is -3x. -3 times a -1 is a +3. Negative times a negative is a positive, right? Equals -1. Okay? Combine like terms. 2x minus 3x is -1x. plus 3 equals negative 1. Now, if I'm going too fast, make sure that you just push pause, right? I mean, that should be easy for you. Push pause and do the steps with me. All right, no big deal. So now, subtract 3 from each side, minus 3, negative 1x equals negative 4. Divide by negative 4, x is going to equal 4. So really, once you get this substitution done, you know what y equals. Double underline it. Circle what it equals. Come over to your other equation. Take y out of the game. Substitute in. And that's the new stuff, really, right? You're golden all the way down to there. Okay, here we go. I know what x equals, so I'm going to come back over here. Y equals, I'm going to put my parentheses. X comes out of the game. 4 goes into the game. Minus 1. You all know 4 minus 1 is 3. Bam. Okay, 1 point for having your x value. 1 point for having your y value. And 1 point for giving me the proper answer, which of course is in alphabetical order. 4, 3. Okay, what's so awesome about that? This is where I'd ask you the question, but obviously you're not here for me to ask you the question. Here's what's cool about that is if you graph those 2 points, that's where the 2 lines would cross. If you graph these 2 lines, that's the point where they would cross. That's what I meant to say. Okay, folks, I think, I've shown this to you. Now I'm gonna get example number 3, and then we're gonna work from there. I'll show you what I want in just a second. Let me get example number 3 written up there. All right, so now we're on to example number 3. Take a minute to get this written down. 4x minus 5y equals 3, and x equals negative 3y plus 5. All right. What's different than the other two? Okay, well, the big thing that's different now is we still have a naked variable. Where's our naked variable? Oh, right here. But instead of it being a y, what is our naked variable? Our naked variable is an x. It's okay. Double underline it, circle it. Circle what it's equal to. I want you to get in the habit of doing that every time. All right? If you call me and ask for help, which is fine, we'll talk about that just a little bit later. You can call and ask for help, but that's the very first thing I'm going to ask you. Did you find the naked variable? Did you underline it? Did you circle what it's equal to? Get in the habit of doing that. Now, a lot of times people say, oh, I found my naked variable, I circled what it was equal to, but then they come over here to substitute in, they substitute in the wrong spot. Make sure you substitute it in the right place. 4. Okay, we know what x equals, so x is what has to come out of the game. 4, big fat parentheses, minus 5y equals 3. Okay, took x out of the game. Well, what has to go in the game? If x comes out of the game, negative 3y plus 5 goes into the game.